Eli, Brill. Eli-isms. Unicycle god, and super artistic.
3 words to describe Eli would be unicycle, obviously.
The unicycle man.
Strong.
Jog it in, boys.
Drangus.
Zingus. Tangus. Eli-isms in general.
Boys.
Unicycle, turtle, and crazy.
He unes, he braps, and he brundles better than any of them.
Eli is, of course, outgoing,
Ripped.
Out for a rip, bro. That's all it's all about now. And he unicycles.
Sexy unicycle scoop.
Funny.
Eli, I don't have 3 words, but I have 1 apology. I'm sorry I puked on your foosball table.
Interesting,
definitely the man.
heartwarming.
Brundle cycle. Ropes. He's funny.
Brundle cycle. Unicycle lord. Exciting and loud.
Brappin. Brappin's a good one. That's classic.
Dringus.
Chickachea, that's like 2 words, but it's also 1 word. It's like a cultural element, that one.
A unicycle.
Smart.
Oh man, I want to say Eli-isms.
Fun,
Brappin. Ropes. Boys.
Yoon.
He's also goofy and hilarious.
Eli's my bloke. He just jogs it in, brapping. Doing it for the boys. Great fella.
Awesome.
Ropes,
He's a loyal friend, so loyal.
Eli-isms.
Eyebrows, to describe him. And if you don't know what that is, just talk to him for a second, you'll understand. Funny and devoted.
A really caring guy. Super nice and just super, super chill.
smart, unicycle, bro, jabroni.
Best human ever. That's already 3 words, but I have to say more. Jogging in, boys. Brappin. These are all words that he brought to us. Ropes.
Athletic, very funny, and very friendly.
Eli is a good writer. He's a good collaborator, and he's an honest guy.
A genius. He is talented with the Yoon specifically. And he has a lot of Eli-isms, which are hilarious.
Creative.
Some made up word. So imagine I made up a word there. And that was the word for Eli.
Athletic. He's a very strong, flexible. I mean, the guy can ride a unicycle for God's sake. Like, come on. How many of us can say we can ride unicycles? You have to have some kind of skill to do that.
He's a riot. He's hilarious. The kid's so funny. I never met a funnier kid in my life. That kid can give me a laugh at anything. He mispronounces 1 word wrong on purpose, and it's the funniest thing.
I think there's only 1 word you can use to describe Eli, and it's quirky.
Best fucking friend.
Here we go.
My favorite memory with Eli was definitely last semester when he had a lot of iTech courses with me, and we were at one point dealing with a really major project that was like coming to a deadline, and ended up spending 12 hours in Osborne in the lab, just like really getting to know each other. We were going crazy from no food. We were hungry, we were tired, we just wanted to go to bed, but ended up like getting to really know each other a lot more, like opening up. It was really cool.
I guess just because we didn't really like hang out like at all kind of until like this year. So I guess literally just like when he like tried to teach me how to ride a unicycle, or when like I just ride my bike and like try to do crappy tricks because I can't ride a bike, but then he does like never before done tricks, like, and I'm just like, okay, that's cool. So I guess just like hanging out with him in general.
Just like anytime he comes in and starts talking, because it's always a new vocab word for him, like every day. I like to learn new words from him and adopt it into my daily vocabulary.
My favorite memory with Eli was, I believe it was last year, we were anchoring the news together and we were on a commercial break. And it was probably like 30 seconds before we came back from the commercial break, and we were talking about the snow and the weather, and Eli just says, you know, God sprinkled his cocaine all over the earth. And then they went, all right, back to you, Britt. And I was dying laughing, and they just came right back to me, and I was trying to hold it together. And so that was pretty funny.
This is definitely not the best memory I've had with Eli, but it's the only one that would be appropriate for the senior video that would also showcase his idiosyncraticness. So we were leaving a class in 301. We were all in a big carpool. It was me, Anthony, Mary, Eli, and this other girl, Britt Connell. And on the way there, it was in my car, and on the way there, everyone was like, "Oh man, it's so cramped back here. I should have just rode in the trunk." And we were like, "Dude, you're not gonna ride in the trunk. You won't." And he was like, "Are you kidding? Are you kidding me? I will absolutely ride in the trunk. Oh my God." So we get out of class. So like that's the whole thing we were talking about the entire class. She's like, "Eli, are you really get in the trunk?" He's like, "Do you want me to?" And we're like, "Kinda, yeah." He goes, and he's like, "Okay, I guess I'm riding in the trunk." And we we get back in the car. Eli climbs into the trunk without any second thought. We lowered the middle back seat so that he could see out. And we were driving through. We were about to leave. And I remembered Eli had the parking pass that we needed to get out. And so I was just like, "Eli, toss up your wallet." And like, he didn't say anything, but his wallet just starts flying through the back seat and lands on my lap, and everyone had a good laugh about that. I made sure to drive over lots of potholes on the way home. And then he lived in Shanks at the time, so I literally backed up to his car that was parked, popped the trunk from the driver's seat, and he actually jumps right out like Ken Jeong does in the Hangover movies. So I'd have to say that one.
One of my favorite memories I was with him was he's always, every time I asked him questions, he was willing to answer them. Or especially when I first came to see what MUTV was all about, and I remember him and Mary were helped lead, and he right in here in this control room of what it was like, and Eli was willing to take his time to answer every single question. So I really remember he was a really good stepping stone to help me get into this program.
Probably like the first time I met him, when I like bumped into him in the CER with like everyone around, and he just like started saying all kinds of funny stuff, and then he walked away and I'm like, who the hell was that guy? Because he was hilarious. But yeah, that's probably my favorite one.
Seeing Eli wrestle Chris Angle for the honor of anthracite coal.
He was the one in the homecoming parade in the green suit, right? The morph suit? Yeah. That'd be my favorite memory. That was pretty funny, just seeing him running around on the stage with the green morph suit on.
My favorite memory with Eli would have to be after Dorman's retirement party. We went back to Julie's and we were all having a patty cake competition, and me and Eli won. I think we got up to 20 patty cakes in a row while everyone else was like 17, 18, but we broke the record, so that was my favorite memory.
So one time for, I think it was broadcast news reporting, I was doing a package. I don't even remember what it was about. Oh, it was about Yik Yak. And I interviewed Eli, and before I actually like recorded his interview, he like did this little thing in the basement of the library where he was like playing with a book, and he like pretended that he was on a show about books, and then I made a little clip about it. And to me, it just, I don't know, I thought it was really funny, and it still makes me chuckle to this day. Books with Eli Brill.
Doing Mr. Millersville together was actually pretty fun. I forgot about it up until right now. Me and Eli were in Mr. Millersville together. He rightfully took the crown, I think. I was nowhere near the top of that list, but watching him do his thing and fall short to one person that shall not be named in this senior video was disappointing, but still fun to watch.
Why do we even think that maybe if it was that way, but then we did it, and could we maybe someday?
Both Los Angeles trips, I mean, those were the best times I've had in my life, and I'm glad I got to share them with him, and I hope he feels the same way, but we had a lot of fun on 2 separate occasions in LA, so I don't think I'll ever forget those.
Introducing him to Trailer Park Boys this year was fun, but this whole semester with him was a blast. We went and saw one of his friends, and this whole year with him was a blast, correct myself, but went and saw one of his friends who was in a band in the Chameleon Club. That was a good night. Went to Jack's a couple times. He introduced me to his roommate Connor, who's now a really good friend of mine, and hanging out with those two. I'm actually probably gonna go doing it right after this. So that's something I'm gonna miss, and I'm gonna be doing next year because they'll both be around. So I'm not really gonna, I'm gonna make more favorite memories with Eli because he's my buddy.
Freshman year, when we came back from lunch and we all had ice creams, and we decided to have an ice cream war outside of Burroughs, rest in peace, and we decided to come inside with ice cream, and I threw it in his room, and it splattered everywhere. And he chased me around Burroughs for about 2 hours because he was really pissed.
My favorite memory was finding out that he was this huge, I'm sure everyone said this huge competitive unicyclist. That was awesome.
Probably all the softball games, in all honesty, all the MUTV softball games we did, but there was one where in the one game we had filmed, he hit an absolute belter of a home run, and he just completely walked it in like no problem, went to home plate, came back, and then just did a backflip for no reason. So that's probably my favorite memories, just because he's always looking to kind of show off his skills, and nobody can replicate what he does.
I wrote when John slapped the broadcasting out of him.
Well, I wasn't the best director in college. That's not my thing. I don't claim to be a director. And Eli was at one point my technical director during the homecoming parade, and things weren't going as well as we would have hoped. There was another senior, Jeff, that maybe was making my life a little more difficult. And I remember I told Eli to cut to a different camera, and he didn't. And one of the cameras whip panned on me. And I remember yelling at Eli and slapping him while he was directing. And I thought for sure, as soon as I did it, I was like, ah, crap. And I thought for sure he was gonna storm out of the trailer, but he never did. So sorry, Eli, my bad. I'm not a director.
Every time I've spoken to Eli, it becomes my favorite memory because he just says something that I'm like, all right, that's my new favorite memory with Eli. So I'm gonna have constantly replacing new memories of Eli that are my favorite. Or when he made a BNR package about his dog Raisin. I was not in his BNR class either. I was just subscribed to him on YouTube, and I told him one time, I was like, I love the package you made about your dog because his dog's crippled. His back legs don't work. So it just flops around like a little seal. And I was like, oh my God, I loved your news package about your dog. He's like, thanks, were you in my class? I was like, no. I was like, I just saw it.
Being on the softball team and him messing around with Connor. Whenever I just remember he walked into the CER one time, and it was my first time seeing him in a long time after he switched his major and he just stopped coming to MUTV things. And he walked in and he just started speaking in this tongue that was Eli, and it was hilarious. And I think I fell over, or I fell off a chair, or I was laughing so hard, and it was hilarious. But it wasn't just me laughing like I do, it was the entire room was laughing. And that just, I'm gonna miss him.
My favorite memory with Eli was one of the first times I ever met him. And it was on a field shoot, and the crew was just me, Eli, Amanda, Chris, and Dara. What a crew for a field shoot. And I was running camera down there, and Eli, Chris, and Dara were doing camera too, so it was Amanda and Eli doing stuff at the MPU when we used that. And it was cold, and me and Eli were wearing shorts, and when I had walked back up to the MPU for halftime or to tear down or whatever it was, Eli had Amanda's sweatshirt on, and he had taken the bags for the tripods and put them over his legs and was wearing them as pants, but he couldn't walk right in them, so everywhere he went, he was hopping like a rabbit.
In 5 years, Elias will be, oh gosh, I don't know, probably at like a really successful job with both of his majors and be making more money than anyone graduating this year that graduated last year or is going to graduate next year.
In 5 years, I see him unicycling around with an entire classroom of kindergartners latched onto his back like offspring, like gorilla babies onto a gorilla. He's just gonna be wheeling around, like he's gonna take his class on a field trip and they're not gonna have to run a bus. They just all hop on Eli and he just unes them to wherever they need to go.
In 5 years, I see Eli teaching the youth of America. Maybe not even education, just teaching the youth the Eli-isms.
Hopefully in 5 years, he'll have been the world champion at unicycling, because that's something he hasn't done yet.
Unicycling on the moon.
Yeah, probably it's corrupting the minds of little kids.
He will be teaching little rascals how to Yoon and Brap through basic math, science, and social studies.
Riding his Yoon.
Unicycling all over the damn world.
Unicycle champion of the world.
The world champion of unicycling. I don't doubt that he has the ability.
Still unicycling?
I'm pretty sure Eli wants to be a teacher or professor of some sorts. I always thought he would be a really good professor. I think the kids would love him. So I see him teaching somewhere and just being a student favorite.
So the easy answer would be unicycling, which I'm sure he'll still be doing. But that's like a side gig for him. That's a pretty good metaphor for Eli, actually. I don't know if Eli's going to be doing anything for real. I think he's just going to have a big culmination of side gigs that he enjoys doing, and he's going to make a lot more money than the rest of us.
Well, I know he wants to go be a teacher now, so I see him molding the minds of youngsters.
I see Eli in 5 years being the most well-liked teacher in his elementary school. Kids will probably be crying the first day of school, where whenever they find out who their teacher is and they realize they don't have Mr. Brill, and that there's a lot to be said within that.
Hanging out with me somewhere. We're gonna be chilling somewhere. I don't know where, but we'll be hanging out. You're probably at another unicycle competition in Germany, doing some never been done MBDs, which also no big deal because he's a man. I don't know. Like it's crazy on a unicycle.
Probably still doing competitive unicycling, but like at the same time, he'll become too good at it, so he'll have to do competitive smash and unicycling at the same time.
Somehow Eli is going to find a way to invent a camera to put on his unicycle that's like better than a GoPro, and that'll make him millions of dollars.
Well, I know he wants to be a teacher, but I hope he's famous instead. Like, I hope he's just a famous comedian, because I just want to watch and hear him talk, watch him do things, watch him say things.
Probably still unicycling around the world.
He'll probably be a leader somewhere, maybe a writer or a producer. I'm not sure. I think he probably has a lot of opportunities.
He's going to totally conquer those children's minds. They're all going to be small little mini genius Elis.
I see Eli in 5 years working in an elementary somewhere small, somewhere I hope close to me, maybe even the same school district, but I think also he's going to love his job as a teacher.
Anything between 1:45 and 2:45 today? No.
I'm going to miss just seeing him around, honestly, on his unicycle. I always think it's really cool. and just, you know, saying hi to him and just hearing what the crazy stuff that just comes out of his mouth. Like, he will just say anything and you just look at him really confused, but it's funny.
Just personality, like his made up words that he just makes up with, his constant, what seems to be happiness, who knows?
His energeticness and like just his like aura.
I'll miss his ridiculous phrases and all the words and Eli-isms that he would say.
His everyday smile.
Hey, I'm gonna miss just like Eli himself, to be honest. Like, that's pretty much it. I'm gonna miss the Eli-isms and all the fun stuff he does.
Just all of his intentionally messed up language, like he messes up words like no other. You know, like this nickel and this dim.
Just seeing him around, when you see him, when I've seen him at least, he's always had a smile. He's got a very friendly face. He just seems like the kind of person that you could just sit down and talk to and have no trouble with.
I think I'm gonna miss most the fact that he's probably the biggest character out of anyone here. He has the most out there personality, you know, just the way he acts, the way he speaks, you know, the way he goes about things. No one else comes close to how, you know, just out there he is. And I think that's something that we're gonna really miss because there's no one like Eli.
The unicycle.
Eli's hilarious. I'll just miss all his like vocabulary and just like all the dumb stuff he does to make everyone laugh. Like the whole sophomore year when I was field trip coordinator and he was program director, I feel like he would just goof off and make me laugh, and then John would be the only serious one in the group at the time. So I'll miss that about Eli.
I just like how goofy he was. He was always very silly, and like he was also really passionate about whatever he was doing. Like I remember he got upset one time when he got like a 95 in Com 101, which in the grand scheme of things really doesn't matter, but it was so important to him, and I thought that was really good discipline, and that was cool to be around a person like that.
Eli, I think I'm gonna miss most in the sense that he comes up with all the words that we use here. I think Eli wrote the MUTV dictionary, so I think we're gonna run out of words real quick in the next 2 years, so I think that's what I'm gonna miss most.
I will genuinely miss Eli's sense of humor. I have never met anyone with that type of personality in my life, so I will miss every single time that I talk to Eli. I leave laughing or crying laughing.
I don't ever think I'll meet another person like Eli, so just to be around him every day and his thoughts and opinions on things, whether they're decipherable or not.
Of course, his mannerisms.
I will miss everything about Eli, probably. I don't know, he's so unique, the way he talks. I'll miss his language. I won't get any cool new lingo out there in the world without like talking to Eli. I won't know brapping. I won't know to jog it in. I won't know to say ropes all the time. I still don't know what ropes means.
I just think he brought something good to the classroom because he did his work really well, and he was kind of, I don't know if perfectionist is the right word, but he did everything the way it was supposed to be done, and I appreciated that.
I'm gonna miss all of the Eli-isms and all of the random things that just are Eli. Like the other day I walked down the hall and he was on his unicycle singing the Cucumber Jamaican song. Who else would be on a unicycle doing that? Eli.
I'm gonna miss everything about Eli. Eli just was one of my best friends when I was here. And so it's like, I don't know, it's hard to pick out one thing that I'm gonna miss the most about Eli.
He's a guy who you really are just like, okay, who thinks like this? Who talks like this? Who moves their body like that? You know, all of that stuff just converges together into one spastic genius and you're just like, good Lord, I want this guy in my life. So I don't think I'm gonna miss Eli because that guy's gonna still be in my life a couple of years from now.
I don't know. Like I said, I'm going to be hanging out with him again next year. So there's not going to be much for me to miss because I'll still be hanging out with him. But if there would be something for me to miss, it would be that kid's personality. I'm never going to meet. I know I'm never going to meet another Eli Brill. He's such an original. He's such an interesting kid. You're not going to find a more well-rounded, sincere, personable guy in Millersville, in Pennsylvania. And I don't know. He's the man.
I'll miss the most just him being real. Just anything I ever had talked to him with about it, he'd shoot me straight up. He'd give me a solid answer. He wouldn't sugarcoat it. And he's a good friend. The last 4 years I'm glad that I got him as a friend.